I'm not a gym person. Strength training just isn't for someone like me. If you found yourself saying anything along these lines, then this episode might be one you want to listen to. Now, in the last few weeks, I've been working through a course that's completely separate to this. It's a personal finance course, a really good one if anyone's looking for that. It's called Rebel Finance School with Kate and Alan Donegan. But within it, they do a series of 10 lessons, and the last lesson was a lesson on beliefs around money. And there was one little section within that, and they use this analogy of beliefs being like tables. And I thought as I went through it that this would be a really nice analogy to use with some of the beliefs around strength training, and hence the episode today. So I want you to take that idea of I'm not a gym person. And now I want you to think about that being like the tabletop, this top of the table that is this belief, I'm not a gym person. What we are very good at humans of doing is looking for evidence to support that table. So every single bit of evidence we find is a table leg for the table that we're looking to support. And this isn't just limited to 4 table legs. The more legs we can put on the table, the more solid and sturdy that table is going to be, i.e. the more evidence we find to support the belief that we have, the more solid that belief becomes and harder to take away. Now, some of these beliefs might be, I tried going to the gym once and I felt completely lost. Or similar, I tried doing an exercise once and I hurt my back. Or I've got arthritis, I better stay away from this. Or I don't have the right body type. Or I've got so fatigued following menopause that exercise is surely not a great idea. Everybody in the gym will judge me. Like I said, we're not just limited to 4 beliefs or 4 table legs. There's as many as we want to put on. And like I said, the more we put on, the more solid that belief becomes. What we're not very good at is trying to find the opposite bits of evidence to counter that. And even if we are, it still doesn't make a huge amount of difference, because the more solid that table with the more legs on, if we just manage to take away a couple of bits or a couple of those legs, you still got a very solid table if you had quite a few of those legs to start with. So they then use this kind of analogy of, well, what instead of finding better legs, we just got a completely different table. And there's a nice kind of transition that they used. Another little bit that made me think that would be really useful for today is to start to think of a 3-letter word you can add to the end of any of your beliefs or sentences about your belief. And that word is yet. So again, if we go back, I'm not a gym person yet, or or strength training just isn't for someone like me yet. And what it does is it starts to create this little opening of belief that, well, actually, maybe I could be someone who is a gym person. And what we can do is we can take that idea, and rather than sort of try and change that current table, let's just scrap that current table and make a new table. So I'm a gym person, or we could even start a new one like I'm someone who is learning to get stronger. And the table legs that we have on there is, well, I've started researching strength training. Other people my age have done this successfully. I've got professional guidance available, whether that's anything through Never Told to Lift or whether that's there's plenty of other YouTube channels and websites out there, whether it's a personal trainer. So I've booked a personal trainer. I'm willing to try something new. And the more table legs we build on this new table, the more solid that table becomes. And because we've stopped looking for evidence for the other beliefs, the other table is becoming less and less solid whilst we've got a new solid table to deal with. And that is going to be a really powerful way to start to try and build this new belief that actually you are someone who can get stronger. And because you've got a new belief that it's now possible, you can start to take small actions to take steps towards it. So again, rather than go, I can't do strength training yet, is, well, I've found all these reasons why I could do. And okay, well, maybe I should try a small workout from home, and you can take very small steps, or maybe I'll go and get the Never Told to Lift ebook, which you can get completely free, and I'll link to all that below, or maybe I will go and book that session with a free trial session with a personal trainer. And you can start to take these little steps towards that new belief. Only last week on the podcast, you might have heard the episode from Kim, who started at the age of 62. She had this very strong belief that strength training would make her bulky. And she avoided weights. She was very active, but she avoided weights for that one reason. And she'd found so much evidence to support it that it becomes such a strong instinctive sort of feeling in her that strength training and the weights was just never something that she'd consider. And then it started to make her realize, once she felt weaker and she had that kind of new belief, that she thought, what if weights could make me stronger? And she found that all the evidence to start supporting that. And then she did find the ebook, and she started to take action from that and realized that, it's not going to make her bulky. It didn't make her bulky, but she feels stronger. She feels more confident. She's able to do more on her active holidays, and her world feels a lot bigger because she changed her belief to be able to start taking some action. We also heard from Elizabeth in episode 6. Again, never done anything active, let alone the gym or strength training. And it took a physiotherapist who looked at her knee. She tore a meniscus in her knee, and she then started to realize that actually she could be the type of person to get into this. And long story short, she's now doing 4 sessions a week in the gym. She's entered a powerlifting competition. She's going to schools to teach others. So again, if you've not listened to that episode, that's episode 6. Fantastic episode, really inspiring. But again, 2 examples from Kim and Elizabeth there of belief systems that were set in stone that stopped them from taking action, to changing the table, finding a new belief, and then from scratch starting to build those table legs on that, trying to make that table more solid. And then from that, they've taken big action, had huge transformation. And it's not that you're too old. It's not that you're not a gym person. It's, I'm not a gym person yet. Or I'm not someone who strength trains yet. And what I want you to do and try and take away from this episode is, are there any beliefs that you think are holding you back? Could you add the word yet to that belief? Does it feel different? Does it feel a bit more positive and possible? And then start to look for new evidence to support that belief. And then once you've done that, see if you can take some small steps forward. If you do have any of those beliefs, then, and if you're watching this on YouTube, please put them in the comments below. I'd love to know. And again, just even in the comments, add the word yet to the end of it and just notice how different that feels. If you are listening to this on the audio podcast and want to share with me, then do send me an email, chris@nevertoldtolift.com, and I'd love to hear if this is kind of resonated with you and you're going to take any action from there. If you are interested, and I've mentioned the ebook a couple of times, it's completely free. You can download it from the website. So it's nevertoldtolift.com/ebook. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put it in the description. If you're on the audio podcast, I'll put it in the show notes of the page. So just whatever podcast player you're on, you'll be able to find all the links there. Next week is the Q&A session. So I will answer any questions that you might have about strength training as an older adult, any difficulties you're facing, anything related to those kind of earlier stages of strength training, and you just want help getting started, or you've started but you're not quite sure how to progress, then please send me some questions. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, just leave those questions in the comments below. If you are listening on the audio, then again, just send me an email with your question, and it's chris@nevertoldtolift.com. And that's going to be at midday next Wednesday. But for now, I hope you're well, and yes, start thinking about those beliefs.